Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Silentcore, here with your latest Destiny tips, tricks, and information. If you're enjoying the content and looking forward to Destiny, go ahead and hit that like button, and also subscribe to my channel for more Destiny content. So it's been a little while since my last Destiny video. There hasn't actually been that much new information over the past few weeks. However, Bungie has recently spoken to two magazines. There's Game Master for their July issue, and also PlayStation UK magazine for their June Destiny hands-on. And they have actually revealed quite a lot of new information in these magazines. So in this video I'm going to be covering 20 new and confirmed facts for Destiny. I would first of all like to say a huge mention to Jeff, or Agrios, I hope I pronounced that right. He's actually got his hands on these copies, and he's done an amazing summary of bullet points of the main information for these magazines. So a huge thanks to him for making this possible, since I don't actually have them myself. So let's get started with the facts. The first one actually comes from a comment from You Splendid on Reddit, and he's quoted a little part from the PlayStation magazine, which actually has a really interesting statement, so I'm going to read this out to you guys. Destiny's levels are massive. They're set on the Earth, the Moon, Venus, and other locations in our solar system. Each offers hours upon hours of load-free, non-linear webs to explore. Unbeknownst to most players, these webs are covered in overlapping bubbles, some private and some public. Your starting area is always a public bubble, which means when you land in any given world, you'll actually see other people around you. Even if this is playing in a single player, Destiny's always online, and it's always populating your world with other people. And he's even stated you can't get a public bubble that's empty, so basically you have to have an internet connection to play Destiny. It's always going to be online, which is absolutely insane. So jumping into Game Master, we first of all have a quote from Pete Parsons, who was asked about the difference between Now Gen and Last Gen. First of all, I really like how they've called it Now Gen and not Next Gen, and his quote was, "Hopefully players will be pleasantly surprised by how appealing it is on last generation hardware. It's the same game," and that was hugely important to us. Part of some of the really big ambitious technologies set up for this, all of this lives on one set of servers. There's one world that we're building, and it's extended out to multiple platforms. So this is really great news for you guys that are going to be playing on an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, and if ever in the future you do plan on upgrading them, you can actually transfer your save from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, and the same for PlayStation. And it is really nice to hear how it's the same game. I know with Watch Dogs there were some people quite disappointed on the last gen consoles just because you don't actually get some of the game modes, like you can't do multiplayer free roam and you can't do decryption multiplayer game modes if you're playing on the last gen consoles. Next up is a fact confirming that random public events can appear while on patrol or inside of strikes. Gear can reduce the recharge time of melee abilities such as shoulder charges and throwing knives. The hunter has an emphasis on high damage from short and medium range. Certain pieces of armour come with stat boosts such as +3 will or +2 control, and these will stack across all your gear and can do things such as lower the recharge time of your powers or boost critical hit damage. Class equipment decisions are mainly cosmetic. Heavy weapons include launchers, railguns, and heavy machine guns, and I think that's the first time we've heard of a railgun. That sounds absolutely insane. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those. One heavy weapon Game Master mentioned they liked is called the Red River MK24. When your team gathers pre-mission, everyone's spacecraft lines up together in a badass congregation, so it pays to have some sweet engines. The Hunter's Golden Gun Super fires 3 thermally charged shots at will during a short timer and does not require having a hand cannon equipped. Teammates entering the protective bubble of the Titan's Ward of Dawn Super are given a temporarily boost to their defense when they wander outside of it. The Warlock's Radiant Super makes his weapons more powerful for a time and can also have the effect of resurrecting guardians after a fight. And lastly, from the Game Master magazine, if all members of a squad perish at once, then progress gets reset. So I'm not actually sure what game mode this is referring to, or if it's referring to all game modes, because one of the game modes in particular, raids, a raid can take you quite a few hours to complete, and you can imagine if you were quite a few hours in a specific raid, and your squad dies, you're going to have to restart that all from the beginning, which could actually be really frustrating. So I do hope that there's going to be some sort of maybe checkpoints and maybe some of the longer raids and things like that. But I guess time will tell when we get that sort of information revealed to us. Next up is the PlayStation UK magazine. So they first of all said that you can use the D-pad And by pressing up on the D-pad, you can use the wave emote, which actually sounds really cool. You know, if you see some of your friends around the Destiny world, you can just hit up on your D-pad and give them a little wave, and maybe they'll wave you back if they're feeling friendly. I do hope there's a bit of a selection on some of the emotes you can do in Destiny. I think it'd be really fun to be able to choose what sort of emotes you have maybe programmed into your D-pad. That'd be pretty awesome. The next fact comes from a quote in PlayStation UK where they've said, "I've picked up a bunch of awesome sounding focus skills to play with. None better than a flaming throwing knife." So I don't think we've actually seen a flaming throwing knife before, but it does sound pretty freaking awesome. Secret areas requiring you to launch your Sparrow off hidden ramps to access them is confirmed. Encrypted engrams are actually crystals. And a quote on deactivated ghosts. "Before we press on, I deactivated a ghost drone in a side room. I press square to revive the ghost and it powers up." "What does this do?" I asked Pete. He's surprised I managed to find the ghost, but admits he can't explain what or any other strange things I might find elsewhere mean. They also mentioned some of the cool stuff you're going to be able to do with Sony's PlayStation 4, and some of it actually makes me just want to get a PlayStation 4 just so I can use this stuff. For example, your light bar on your controller is actually going to pulsate red when your health's low. When your super's ready, it's going to flash yellow, and when you go into hive areas, it's going to change to a pale green colour. They have noted a lot of people aren't going to notice it, but it does make the experience richer, and when the fans notice that stuff, we love it. And the last fact from the PlayStation UK magazine comes from when Bungie were asked about the environment in Destiny permanently changing or being destroyed after world events. And Bungie said, "All of these things are possible, but right now we're focusing on making sure the game, first of all, is released and works great at the start, and that sort of stuff can be discussed in future." So there you go guys, that was the main information in 20 facts from the Game Master and PlayStation articles that were written about Destiny. So hopefully if you can't get your hands on those magazines, this video was just as good at informing you on the new stuff. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and join the channel. And also follow me on my social media channels, which will be linked in the description. I hope you have an awesome day guys, and I'll see you in the next video.